Hi guys, this is Vidas and welcome to another training. Today, Learn with Vidas session, we will be learning how to improvise modulations. Modulations and modulations. Modulation, what it is? Modulation is like a change of key, right? And then creating a cadence in that key, like a closed musical idea in that key, not a temporary excursion to the key and coming back to the old key, which would be called tonicization, where we are just entering for 2-3 chords in the related key. But now we are entering a related key or unrelated key for that matter, and then completing a musical idea like a sentence or creating a cadence and staying there. So that's what is interesting to note at the beginning, right? What is a modulation and why do we need those modulations? Well, modulations obviously help to create more color in musical piece. If you play a piece in C major, all you can hear is one color: C major chords, D minor chords, right? E minor chords, F major chords, G major chords, A minor chords, all those keys with zero accidentals. And it's very nice for a while, but after a little bit of playing and improvisation, after a minute or two, it becomes redundant and you need more color, you need more contrast. And one of the ways to create contrast is to move to another key. And one of the ways to move to another key is create a modulation. That doesn't mean that it's the only way to move to another key. You can just juxtapose C major to another key, let's say G major and let's say B flat major, or C major and E major, and you play a passage in the previous key, and then suddenly play in E major, and you even can come back to C major. It doesn't mean we have created real modulation here, because modulation has to have certain steps. Okay, let's talk about it. Modulation has to have 4 steps. Yeah, 4 steps. The first step is just exposition of the old key, establishing the key with the primary chords: tonic, subdominant, and the dominant. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, is basically major or minor chords built on the first scale degree, that's tonic. The 4th scale degree is subdominant, and the 5th scale degree is the dominant. Usually the dominant is the major chord, because we use harmonic minor mode in minor keys, right? In major keys, dominant chord is always major anyway, right? So that's the first thing. We have to establish the key, and let me show you how it's done. Here is the key, the view of the keyboard. Maybe you would like to see my registration. We are in Svelling today. I'm using Hauptwerk in York, Bogart organ from 2014, and I've just selected press stand on both manuals, and then a couple of flutes, bar pipe, and flout in Hauptwerk. All right, no pedals needed for this purpose at all. So let's see what we can do now in C major, right? And I will just establish the key for you. So establish the key with 3 functions. This is 3 chords: tonic chord, C major chord, subdominant, right, on the 4th scale degree, F major, and obviously G major chord, the dominant. And there is certain harmonic logic in classical music, tonal classical music. Tonic chord can proceed either into subdominant or the dominant, both ways, right? Subdominant can proceed to the tonic or the dominant, and the dominant can proceed either to the subdominant, to the tonic, but not to the subdominant. So, in other words, after the dominant chord in tonal classical music, we don't normally see G major chord and F major chord one after the other in C major key. That's one thing to remember. In pop music, in blues music, obviously, host functions dominant, subdominant, and tonic. This works very well. But in tonal classical music, it doesn't, because if we do the dominant, this leading tone, 7th scale degree B, it feels like it has very big tension, and we have to resolve somewhere this tension into the tonic, into the C major chord, but not into the F major, because usually we create more tension either way. From F major to G major, it's fine, but from G major to F major, it's no, because basically the tension has to rise and not fall in tonal classical music. If you want to release tension, you just resolve this into tonic or subdominant and tonic. Now, don't pay attention to obvious parallel intervals when I play. Right? This is not typical for harmonic progressions. I'm just explaining how the chords work, 3-note chords, right? If we're using 4-part harmony, we wouldn't be using this, right? Because there is certain logic, like this, right? To connect the chords nicely, to avoid parallel octaves and parallel fifths. But this tutorial is not about forbidden intervals. If you want more help on this, we have, of course, different tutorials for harmonic progressions and voice leading. But now let's talk about modulations, right? So modulation, the first step is basically establishing the key using those 3 functions: tonic, subdominant, and dominant. So what I can do is actually create a nice passage, right? Tonic. Those 4 chords: 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last one, right? We have established this first musical idea in C major, right? And then this is the first step. And then second step is actually to find a chord that is common both to keys of the old key and the new key, right? Let's say we want to go from C major to F major, right? This is C major, right? This is C major, and then this is F major. C major in F major actually is the chord from the 5th scale degree. You see? The dominant chord. If this is the new tonic, this is the new dominant. So we're finding a common chord. Tonic becomes the dominant when you modulate into the subdominant key, into the F major, right? So before modulation happens, we have to have establishment of the old key and then ending it on the common chord. That's step 2. And step 3 would be playing a modulating chord. Modulating chord is already a foreign chord to the old key. It has to have some kind of new accidental. In our case, if we are in F major suddenly, then the C major chord, I will show it in 3-note chord example. So establishing the key, common chord C major, tonic becomes the dominant. Now dominant 4/2 chord of the new key of the F major key. This is the modulating chord, and the sign for it is, of course, B flat. Dominant 4/2 chord in the new key is built from the 4th scale degree, and here is resolution, right? And then we have to have a new cadence in the new key, the 4th material, the 4th step. First we establish the key, that's step number 1. This C major chord becomes the common chord, step 2. This 4/2, dominant 4/2 chord becomes the modulating chord, step 3. And then resolution, tonic 6 chord. And step 4 is basically from here creating a cadence in the new key in F major using those 3 basic chords, tonic, subdominant, and dominant. So if this is tonic 6 chord, subdominant, dominant 6 chord, finally tonic 6. You see, we are suddenly in the key of F major, very clearly, very step-by-step approach, and you don't even notice the very strict change of keys. But the color changes slightly, right? One more time, I'll show you. Still in this 3-note disposition. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. This cadence, of course, could be a little longer, like we're using chords like this: dominant 4/2 chord, tonic 6 chord, subdominant chord, cadential 6/4 chord, dominant 7 chord, and tonic in the new key in F major. So in 4-part notation in choir basically mode, where you play hymns, let's say, so it would look like this. Establishing the key. Right? Modulating chord. Cadence. Right? Smooth modulation into F major. I just explained this very quickly, those 4 elements for you. Now, if you are still with me, let me know if you understand what I'm talking about so far. Do I need to repeat myself? Do I need to simplify material? Or what I referred to, what I explained, is it clear enough? Let me know in the chat. All right. Hi Sean, hi Don, hi Giovanni. All right, everyone, very nice to see you here. So let me know. This tutorial, by the way, was requested by Don, who wanted to know more about modulations. And Don is our Total Organist student. Thank you, student. Thank you, Don, for that. Hopefully, you are getting a lot of help in our Total Organist program. Excellent. So let me sip a drop of water. And now let's move. Okay. Let's move now to practical applications and how you can actually modulate to various keys. So if the bass key is C major, all right, the bass key is C major, then we have to find a little, I actually want to find a little more like this, a little more basically better acoustics, so to say. Okay, let's change sample set a little bit, and we are in Grotekert Dordrecht. So press-stand. Or better, maybe second manual too. All right. So better acoustics now to understand. So if we are in the key of C major, this is C major key, C major chord, right? And let's play as scales: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. This is basically the first scale degree, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh scale degree, and the eighth scale degree, or repetition of the first scale degree, one octave higher. So if we building major or minor chords from those scale degrees, we suddenly notice that from the first scale degree we have major, C major. From the second scale degree D we have minor. From the third scale degree we have minor, E, right? From the fourth scale degree F we have major. From the fifth scale degree we have major. And from the sixth scale degree we have minor. From the seventh scale degree we don't have actually major or minor key, major or minor chord, because this is diminished root position chord. It consists of minor third and minor third, whereas minor chord consists of minor chord plus major chord, or major chord consists of major chord, major third, and minor third. So at least one of the thirds has to be major and the other has to be minor. But from the seventh scale degree we have two minor thirds, and therefore it's diminished fifth interval between the outer notes B and F. That would be minor chord. Or major, actually, if we play this way, right? Minor third plus major third is minor chord, but two minor chords is simply, I'm playing here, it's a little too unstable because we don't have a perfect fifth, which is very important for every chord. What I'm getting at is actually very simple. If you play the chords from the first scale degree, second, fifth, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth scale degree, you can feel that they can serve as tonic to the new key. So, for example, we could modulate from C major to D minor, or from C major to E minor, or from C major to F major, or from C major to G major, from C major to A minor, but not C major to, what is this, right? It's not B minor, it's not B flat major, it's not D major. It's diminished chord with it doesn't feel like a tonic chord. So therefore, seventh scale degree is not usable in our system. It is usable in different specifications, in different inversions, in different contexts, but not in our modulation purposes tonight, right? So what I'm getting at, so that if you are in C major starting point, you could modulate to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other keys. D minor, E minor, F major, G major. You would actually even modulate to F minor, but maybe it's a little more advanced because we're now in the mode of C major harmonic mode with A flat, and I don't want to overcomplicate things for you right now, so just focus on modulating C major to D minor, or E minor, or F major, G major, or A minor. All right. If we are in A minor starting point, yeah, again finishing, skipping the chord E, would simply modulate from A minor to C major, from A minor to D minor, from A minor to E minor, from A minor to F major, from A minor to G major. In other words, in A minor key, in any minor key basically, the third scale degree is major, the fourth scale degree is minor, the fifth scale degree is minor, the minor in natural minor mode. In the sixth scale degree is major, and the seventh scale degree is major, right? If we're starting from A minor, we could modulate to those keys. So how about I teach you the basics of modulating into those keys starting from C major, all right? Very simple. Very simple 4-step rule, right? 4-step approach, which I taught you. The first step is simply establishing a key with the cadence in the C major. And you can actually learn and reuse this cadence and rehash it when you, let's say, transpose it to other keys. So, like this, if we are in this mode, like this. If we want, you could use dominant 6 chord or dominant 6/5. The 7th instead of 5th or autumn. Right? Because it's just a matter of F adding without F, dominant 6 chord, with F, it's dominant 6/5. Okay? So the entire cadence could sound like this. this way or this way. Right? This is not the most singable melodic line in soprano. You want, of course, your melody to flow up and down, not C, 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 D, C, right? On one note recitative. But we could play a little differently. We could do this. Or this. This is the opening cadence, yeah? Any cadence would work. We already have established the key. Then the first step is completed, and the second step is basically this C major chord, which becomes the common chord from the old key C major to the new key. Let's say we want to move to D minor. So in D minor, C major chord is a 7th scale degree chord. It has actually a special function. It's called subdominant of the subdominant. What I mean, SS, it's called internal harmony, the shortened version. S. You can write Roman numerals, of course, 7, major 7, capital letter 7. If this is tonic, if this is the new tonic, so this C major chord becomes 7th scale degree. So in D minor, the 7th scale degree, subdominant is what? In G minor chord, and subdominant of the subdominant could be either C major or C minor, is our new key, right? S, subdominant of the subdominant. To not overcomplicate things, just use Roman numerals here if you want. So, opening cadence. Right. And then this common chord becomes the 7th scale degree. And then we need to use a new key, the third step, and basically modulating chord, and find a new accidental of D minor. Obviously, D minor has one flat, E flat. But if we play harmonic minor, it also has C sharp. So, if we use a chord with a C sharp in it, it has the dominant function, right? The previous chord was C major chord, and if we use this chord, dominant 6/5 chord of the new key, the resolution of this chord into tonic, subdominant, cadential 6/4 chord, dominant chord, tonic. There is entire modulation into D minor from C major, like this. What do you think? Is it nice? Is it difficult? Let me know in the chat. One more time. The first step, establishing cadence in the now this is the common chord, second step, modulating chord, dominant 6/5 chord, resolution, and the cadence into the new key. Subdominant, tonic 6/4 chord, dominant. You see? Simple, and as Don says, brilliant. It is. So, my advice with this is very simple. When you get the idea of the theoretical knowledge in this, right? When you understand, when you get the hang of it first, you could write it down, of course, on a sheet of paper, right? Or you would play. It's best actually to keep playing it on the keyboard for you, because it will later lead to improvisation for you. So whatever you think about, you have to play, right? You have to make your fingers understand, right, what your mind was telling them, and this muscle memory will help you too. So practice in C major key, but from various starting positions. This position. So when the root is on the top, when the third is on the top, and the fifth is in the closed position. Also in the open position, when the root is in the top, when the third is in the top, and when the fifth is in the top. So 6 different starting, and you would end up a little bit differently, but with the same type of chords. But use the nice voice leading, and you will, for example, if the last chord was, if the first chord was this, 6th position, I could do this. What if the starting point was this? Or this? The opening cadence could be your choice, actually. Or let's say this. I just drank a sip of water. Alright, what do you think? Sean writes, it sounds nice, wish I had paid more attention to music theory when learning piano in the 60s. Well, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Actually, I can tell you a little detour, a short story. Yesterday, I participated in the recording session of the Čiurlionis song project, the wave of Čiurlionis's songs, where 2 choirs joined together in our church, and I was the organist, and also there was the narrator who read some of the citations from Čiurlionis' literary works and letters, and some other researchers' works about his music, folk songs as well, some kind of narration, right? So all of us went to the church and recorded this entire concert, and we did 2 takes, beautiful music, folk songs, and I also improvised interludes between those folk songs, about 7 or 8 of them, to connect various folk songs. It's like playing in a liturgy, connecting 2 different hymns, basically. So it was really beautiful evening, exhaustive evening, because we did two takes of each, basically 2 run-throughs of the recital, of the concert. And during the intermission, I noticed there was one former student of mine in the audience, an Osha student. He was also our common student at the school before we were teaching in theory department, music theory department. And of course now he understands the importance of harmony and music theory. What we were teaching them a decade ago was sort of forced labor for them and not voluntary. And not everyone appreciated it, of course. But now this musician, of course, became a well-known jazz pianist. And if he is a jazz pianist, he improvises in the jazz style. And of course, he has to know jazz theory and jazz harmony. And in order to know the jazz harmony, you have to first learn the basic and classical harmony as well. So the circle of life, right? You suddenly understand what you missed exactly, and now he appreciates harmony much better. So it resonates what Sean wrote, right, in the 60s, learning piano and theory. Yeah, but it's never too late to learn, of course. As long as you're still breathing, you can still learn little by little. So that's my help here for you too. All right, so we covered a little bit of D minor. Let's do modulation from C major to E minor. If the new key is E minor, the common tone C major becomes the 6th scale degree, right? C becomes not 1 but 6th scale degree. C is 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6. So C major is common tone, and it equals in the new key of the 6th scale degree chord, which actually has the subdominant or the tonic function, because it has the notes of E minor, tonic, but it has one note of the subdominant C, right? So now let's play a cadence in C major. Right? And then let's repeat this a little bit higher. And this will become our common chord. Tonic equals 6th scale degree. And after that we need subdominant, simply subdominant chord of the new key. That's our modulating. If we finish abruptly from C major, dominant 7 and tonic, it's a little too abrupt. But if we use C major, then A minor, which is subdominant of the new key, and then the tonic 6/4 chord, which is the cadential 6/4, and the dominant 7th in the tonic. It's much better now. Let me repeat it now. Cadential, tonic, common chord, subdominant of the new key, cadential 6/4, dominant 7th chord, and 1 in the E minor key. Right? We are in the area of F sharp and D sharp if we use the dominant chord. Right? So again, practice this in 6 different starting positions. This, this, and this. This is, if this is difficult to reach or too high, drop 1 octave high. 6 different positions. All right. What else? From C major to F major, right? Tonic to subdominant. So in the new key, tonic becomes the dominant. C major in the F major key is the dominant. 5th scale degree, dominant, right? In the old key there is 0 occidentals, in the new key it's B flat. So that's what we need to do. Our cadence. Step 1, okay, establishing the key. Common chord, tonic becomes the dominant, right? But if we resolve this new dominant into F major and then go home, it's a little too short. And it's a little too abrupt. What I propose after this, we could use dominant for 2 right here, B flat, tonic 6 chord, and now we have 2nd scale degree 6/5 chord, beautiful, cadential 6/4 chord, 7th, and tonic chord. Very natural, smooth transition from C major to F major. One more time. Tonic, dominant, tonic 6 chord, subdominant, cadential 6/4 chord, dominant, dominant 7th chord, and C major tonic. Repetition of the same key in a different position, which is the common chord in both keys. Tonic becomes the dominant. Dominant part U chord of the new key. Tonic 6 chord of the new key. Subdominant or the 2nd scale degree 6/5 chord. Cadential 6/4 chord, dominant 7th chord, and tonic. You could have actually lyrical extension like this, also very beautiful. One more time perhaps. it's nice. I think it's nice. What Sean writes? Oh yeah, music was compulsory in your schools, exactly. But of course, you only appreciate it later in life. When you have clear goals, right? When you already know what you want. So that's the thing. Now, we could modulate from C major to G major. Right? G major. And look at the keyboard. G major is a key with F sharp. Right? So C in G major, it's the fourth scale degree. So if we modulate from C major to G major, and G major is the fifth scale degree key, then the old key becomes like this fourth scale degree, subdominant in the new key. Right? Tonic, subdominant, or tonic, dominant. Right? That's why. So that's the thing. If we modulate from tonic to dominant, common chord becomes subdominant. If we modulate from tonic to subdominant, common tone becomes the dominant common chord. Yeah. Once we establish that, let's now create our cadence in the C major chord, C major key. Play it a little higher. And now this is subdominant. And then we need modulating chord after this. After common chord, so this would be altered subdominant 6/5 chord, cadential 6/4 chord, dominant 7, tonic 6, subdominant 6/4 chord, harmonic, minor, subdominant 6/4, legal extension, or this. Right. So let's repeat it. Tonic, common chord, modulating chord, altered subdominant 6/5 chord, cadential 6/4 chord, dominant 7th, tonic, subdominant 6/4. I like this one. You know what it is. This chord, but without the C, without the third. It's incomplete second scale degree for 2 chord in the harmonic mode. Or simply this, and this. So one last time. Yes, from C major to G major. All right, and again, practice 6 different starting points. This, this, and then this, this and this. Alright, and then with the final key, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful key from C major to A minor. Yes, A minor, the key with 0 occidentals, but in harmonic mode, G sharp. So we need 1 sharp, G sharp sometimes, and especially true in the dominant key, E major chord of A minor is always major. G sharp, remember this, we will use it in the modulation. So, if the starting point is C major and ending point is A minor, then C major becomes the 3rd scale degree. If we modulate to the 3rd scale degree, tonic becomes the 6th scale degree. If we modulate to the 6th scale degree, tonic becomes the 3rd scale degree, vice versa. The same is with the dominant and subdominant. If we modulate to the dominant, tonic becomes subdominant. If we modulate to the subdominant, tonic becomes the dominant. That's the understanding of step 2, right? The common chord. Yeah, beautiful. So now let me show you how it's done. Okay, C major, A minor. Okay, so now let's establish the cadence. Play it a little higher. In this position, the 3rd is on top, so this is our common chord, the 2nd step. In the C major key is the tonic, in the A minor key it's the 3rd scale degree. The 3rd scale degree has, of course, tonic function, because C and E belongs to A minor key, A minor chord. So two notes of C major chord belong to A minor chord. Therefore, it's purely tonic function. Except G belongs actually to the dominant, minor dominant also. Actually, 2 notes belong to the tonic, right, to A minor, and 2 notes, E and G, to the dominant. So 50-50, 1/2 of the chord belongs to the tonic, another half belongs to the dominant. 2 notes, right? And 1 note, E, belongs to both tonic and the dominant. It's sort of binary function chord, C major in A minor. So now go back to this opening cadence, common chord, which is 3rd scale degree chord, A minor in the new key, and then we have to find a modulating chord. Obviously, D minor would be close to it. D minor is the subdominant of the key, right? Tonic 6/4 chord, dominant chord, or this, not too low, right? So when we have the common chord here, subdominant, C major, D minor. It's imperative to play this way. Bass goes up, the upper three voices goes downward. Otherwise, you get this. This is forbidden. Perfect fifth, perfect fifth, perfect fifth, perfect fifth, forbidden. Perfect. Also forbidden. If all the voices go up, then we have parallel intervals, and parallel thirds and parallel sixths are okay. Parallel fourths are still okay, but parallel fifths and octaves are not okay. So therefore this progression is not okay. So the rule of thumb when you have two chords of close proximity, they are only basically different from one scale to another. It's a stepwise motion from the third scale degree to the fourth scale degree. Like this. The rule of thumb is basically moving the bass upward from C to D, and the upper three voices step going to the closest chordal note of the new chord. Not this way, but this way. Downward. So soprano goes stepwise to D, alto goes stepwise from C to A, and the tenor goes stepwise from G to F. Alto is actually not a step, but a skip of from C to A. You see? It's not a leap, but a skip. We're skipping one scale. No B. Right? So after this, after the subdominant chord D minor, we have potential 6/4 chord, the dominant, and in the new key. So let me repeat how it sounds from the beginning. You see, it's pretty interesting and smooth transition from C major to A minor. So, what do you think? Did you understand what I was talking about? I think we have passed the hour, and obviously we need to do part 2 of this training, starting in A minor, not C major, but in A minor, switching the mode. And that could be the focus of next week's tutorial. But for now, I recommend you practice what I taught you, starting from 6 different positions in C major. This, this, and this. 3 closed positions, 3 open positions. And then creating those modulations into 5 different keys, from C major to D minor, from C major to E minor, from C major to F major, from C major to G major, and from C major to A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new keys, right? 6 different positions, 5 times 6, 30 different modulations. Good luck. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the probably live chat while we are still here. When the stream is done or finished, feel free to ask questions on the comments, of course, and we would be delighted to know. And of course, Total Organist students like Dawn will get access to our community on Discord, where they can ask questions anytime. So, Thank you so much for your support, for your coffees, for your donations, for your virtual tickets, for your memberships, for your PayPal transfers. If you want to transfer PayPal, sometimes some people love PayPal because of smaller transaction fees. Buy me a coffee is also few, not much in transaction fees. So thank you so much for channel members. Everything is really greatly appreciated and allows me to keep going. Of course, you know, I feel your love, I feel your appreciation, not only through comments, which is really nice, but through some teaching, right? Like Sean did it right here. A green, beautiful color. Let me, where it is. I want to give Sean a heart. Where it is. Yeah. Oh, a heart. Thank you so much. And a like. So, thank you. Appreciate it. It was really fun teaching you guys today, and I do hope that this material, theoretical material, is not too difficult for you to practice on your own over the week. And next time, when we meet next Sunday, yes, are we meeting next Sunday? What is next Sunday? I think we are meeting next Sunday. We're still here, Osha and I. We will be traveling to some concerts over the summer, but not yet, not this next Sunday. So I can still teach you, and of course we can of course meet, and I will teach you the next part, second part, modulating from the minor key to other keys, from starting in A minor. All right. So beautiful evening, beautiful week ahead. Lots of practicing to do for me, lots of graduations to play, second week, right? And lots of processionals and recessionals to compose. I have already created 7 keys, processional and recessional in C major, D flat major, D major, E flat major, E major, F major, and F sharp major. I'm basically going chromatically through these keys. So 0 occidental, 5 flats, 2 sharps, 3 flats, 4 sharps, 1 flat, 6 sharps. And now tomorrow hopefully I will create in G major one. On Tuesday I create on Tuesday or the following few days I will create next A flat major, 2 pieces with 4 flats, and next comes of course A major with 3 sharps, and then B flat major and 2 flats, and the last one, the fun thing, is to finish with 5 sharps, B major. So guys, this was really fun. That's what I'm going to do next week. And of course, Friday on the bench with Vidas. I still have to... Yeah, on Friday will be big event at Vilnius University. Ending of the academic year. It's called Finis Annis Academici. Very nice Latin name, title. And I'll play organ part there with Osha. And then in the evening, I will come back and play for you a concert, live stream on the bench with Vidas. And in the meantime, stay tuned for my daily videos with those processionals which I have created for you to enjoy and played and recorded at our church, Vilnius University St. John's Church. So guys, thank you so much for your camaraderie, from your help, for your support. Sean, thank you so much for your virtual ticket. Everyone else, stay tuned, and remember, when you practice, miracles happen.